Hey guys, this is a video on simple interest. Now, simple interest is kind of the interest that you pay when you borrow money from your parents or somebody you really know. Compound interest is the more common kind of interest calculations when you borrow money from an institution like a bank or a loan company, or somewhere when you invest and the money that you make would be based on compound interest. In this video, we are going to only talk about simple interest, and the interest formula is the interest amount. I is the interest amount that you make. So interest amount, and that depends on three things. It depends on the principal. So principal is the money that you borrow or the money that you deposit for making money as an investment. And I is the small I, make it should be distinguish that from the capital I. The small I is the annual rate of interest. And you might have seen this on some advertisements. They might say 3.7 APR, that is the annual interest rate. And T, when it comes to simple interest, is always measured in years. So how will a calculation, what kind of calculations come up here? So let us say you borrow $1,000 from your father, and you agree to pay a interest rate of 4% per annum. That A stands for per year or per annum. And then you promise to pay after 5 years. So how much interest do you end up paying on the money that you borrowed? The interest is P equals P I T, and that would be $1,000. And when it comes to the interest rate, you cannot substitute 4 into the formula. You need to change the interest rate to a decimal. And to do that, you always divide the percentage number by 100. And when you do that, you get 0.04. And that is the substitution you put here, 0.04. And the T is for 5 years. So I'm punching this into my calculator. So that is 1,000 times 0.04 times 5 years. And I get this number as 200. So the interest that you have to pay is 200. But this is not the only amount you need to return back to your dad. The total amount that you will return would be the money that you borrowed, that is P, and the interest on the money that you borrowed. So that is going to be $1,000 plus $200. So you will return $1,200 to your dad. Right, what are the other possible calculations that we may have to do with that? So to do that, let's go back to the formula for interest rate. Now, if you look at this here, you have a I, which is the amount of money as interest, and the principal, which is the investment or the money borrowed, and I is the rate of interest, and T is the time in years. So there are 4 variables you see in this equation. So if I give you any 3, you should be able to find the 4th. So as an example, so um, let's say you borrowed some amount. So you borrowed a principal amount of $2,300, and then at an interest rate of say 3.25%. And the interest that you owed at the end of it is $325. Okay, so now the question is, how long did you borrow the money for? Okay, so let's write everything down first in the formula. I equals P times I times T. So put the numbers in. The interest is 325. The money that you borrowed is 3,200, and the interest rate now, which you have to convert to a decimal by dividing by 100. So divide that by 100 and you will get 0.0325. Substitute that here, 0.0325, and the time. Now, to isolate for the time, we need to get rid of these numbers here. So you'll have to divide the right side by these numbers. And what you do on one side, you're going to divide on this as well. Since I'm going to squeeze the numbers, just watch out, times 0.0325, and that is a decimal right there. Okay, so I'm going to put this into my calculator. So what do I have? 325 divide by 2,300 and divide again by 0.0325, and the number I get is 4.34. So 4.34 years, and that is the time you had borrowed this money. And remember, it's not just borrowing, even though I've given you two examples for borrowing. It is both for borrowing and for investing. Right. See you in the next video.